a bunch of different items and a couple of decks and things that can be used to read fortune. So first and foremost, I'm gonna put some oil in my hands, and this is custom made of stuff. This is by my colleague Evan Lionheart. This is Damascus Rose. This is so good. And this is an oil that I inspired, made by my Amazon Lindsay, and I hope it's gonna be back and available, and it's all about self-love and self-healing. So let's put that on, because that is always a blessing. Oh, it smells amazing. It has a lot of violet in it, and violet is kind of like one of the more expensive essential oil stuff. So anyways, and this rose and violet are my favorite scents or notes, as it were. Let me put it over here and over here. I don't know if you can see where it's going. It's over here. I'll show you my little beautiful plate thingy. I don't know exactly how to call it, but this is the Lover's card. Isn't that pretty? It goes through various functions in my home. So I'm gonna put it somewhere here, and we're gonna light some incense, because why not, right? And we're going to talk to Jupiter and see what's up. If we have any story that is developing, and hopefully this information is going to be valuable, not just for me, but for other people that might watch it in the next 24 hours, because I don't know why my camera stopped saving things. But I put in Lakshmi over here. Was the incense? A little blessing of space. Have some of my spiritual guides and a few amulets and things, and some crystals, of course. Had to pull the whole thing out again. We're talking about Jupiter, and Jupiter loves the goodies, so it's very easy to overdo on Jupiter, I found. So let me show you what I got. First of all, I have this Trinkets Oracle. This is my personal collection of things. This is, of course, Madam Nadia business card. Because where else would you go for your readings? So I have this stuff, and I haven't used it in a long time, but it spoke to me, and I felt like I need to bring very different things together. So we have this little collection of stuff, and this lives usually in this Crown Royal bag. So I think I'm gonna put it back in here, and then when the time is right, we're gonna sort of cast an item or two. Oh, look at this, it's just rolling around. I have this thing, I'll tell you what it means because it's here. I have these two items, right? Let me put a little bit of the incense. I have these two items, and they represent creative potential. And the one that has no paint on it or no color, because this one is a little bit more red. This one without the color represents untapped potential. And this, the one that was rolling around, represents potential that is here and ready to be manifested. So I'm going to take it as a compliment. Thank you, Jupiter. That's kind of cool. I'm happy to hear that. Now let me put all these goodies back in here because we're not going to start with them. That's just too messy. And I'm going to show you in a second the other oracles that I brought today to work with. And I am trying to be quiet because my daughter is asleep and it's like 3:30 in the morning and this Jupiter transit got me wired. So here we are doing this thing. So first of all, I have these cards, and this is the, what is it called? The Botanical Inspiration. This deck, Botanical Inspiration. And it's kind of the Victorian flower concept. And each card has a flower, its name, its common name, what it means in a little quote or poem or something. So we're gonna have those guys. And then we are going to have this deck, which is my lovely Israeli deck by Orna Ben-Shoshan. And this is called Aleph Beta Ohavim, which means the ABC of lovers. And it is connected to Kabbalah and the 72 names of God and Kabbalistic letters. And each card has an image. And then on the other side you have a number and a letter, both in Hebrew and how it's pronounced in English. And then English and Hebrew, what is the meaning of that? So I thought it would be interesting to combine this two decks and this Trinkets Oracle that I have and see what we can figure out about the story of Jupiter and how it's going to be unfolding and where it's going to be touching us and how it's going to be touching us. And again, I hope that this is useful for somebody who's going to be watching it. I feel like Spirit is telling me to do this. So I'm following it, and I am going to be calling on the ancestors, my ancestors, the ancestors of whoever is watching it, guide us and teach us the wisdom that needs to be permeated into our consciousness tonight and for the next 3 weeks. And I'm calling to the spirits of the plants, the spirits of that which feeds us and fulfills us and brings beauty into the world, to be an inspiration yet again for the work tonight. I feel like this is like an altar, like this is more than a reading, like this is like a whole freaking ritual. And then all the trinkets, because our life seems sometimes like it's full of trinkets and we don't make sense of it until we suddenly have a realization, right? Let's put this, because this is sort of the moon phase, what's going on now. And let me straighten my legs. And let's see. So, shall we start with the flowers? I think we should start with the flowers. Where's my incense? It's that one. A little bit more in there. Put Lakshmi here. Why not? Lakshmi Ma. Prosperity and good fortune is always, always good. This is an amulet I got from a friend recently. I'm really excited about it. Anyways, let's start with the flowers. And I think we are going to be, with this deck, I want to pull 2 cards out. So let me just shuffle really, really gently and lovingly on this late Friday, Saturday, whatever it is right now. And I'm going to try to connect to the essence of Jupiter and ask, what is the story that we're dealing with? And the story is going to have 2 parts: the unconscious and the conscious. So the unconscious is going to be on the bottom of the deck, and the conscious will be on top, and I feel like I'm ready. So let's do the unconscious. You guys are gonna see it first. Turn this around like so. Oh, I love it. I was about to shuffle, but no, I put it back because we want the top of the deck. And this is the gladiola. Okay. So let's look into the unconscious part first. Let's bring some energy into here. So the interpretation is on target. And what we got here, let's look at what we got here. We got false indigo, immersion, and intuition. And actually we got Khalil Gibran as the quote, which is lovely already. I'm excited about it. And it says, when you reach the end of what you should know, you will be at the beginning of what you should sense. This is so amazing, and this is so on freaking point, especially if we're thinking about Jupiter and we're thinking about the unconscious. And it tells us that now all that we already sort of, the build-up that was happening, that we couldn't understand why certain things are happening, or our reaction to certain things. This is going to help us, or Jupiter is going to help us to bring to the surface what was immersed, what was hidden. And even though it might still be hidden, we will be able to utilize it by using intuition, right? We will be able to actually act upon it, even if we don't understand it. And other people will get it because it's Jupiter, and it's a cultural kind of thing. So this is the subconscious story. The conscious story is the gladiola. And the gladiola is a strengthening of character and moral integrity. This is so fucking on point, like you wouldn't believe. If you haven't been following the hashtag Mutable Madness 2019, you will know what I'm talking about. And the quote that we get here on this card is by Helen Keller. Character cannot be developed in ease and quiet. Only through experiences of trial and suffering can the soul be strengthened, vision cleared, ambition inspired, and success achieved. Oh my God, I love it so much. I love it so much, especially for Jupiter. And this is the conscious, right? So the unconscious said you had all these experiences and now you're able to respond to them maybe from a place of intuition. But now the conscious part is saying, this is intuition and this is great. You want to move forward? You have to use your integrity. You have to understand why you're doing what you're doing. You have to use that intuition that we got before, right? Don't let it go. It's important to how we're developing. So what we didn't know, what maybe scared us, is being transformed. We can use it with intuition. But this is talking to us. If you really want to make a difference within yourself, if you really want to grow with this transit, you will have to work on moral integrity, and it might not feel uncomfortable. It might not feel comfortable. In fact, usually when we have moral questions, it's uncomfortable questions, whether we're asking ourselves or somebody else. And so here we can see this beautiful combination of knowing intuitively when that strength of moral integrity needs to come in. And I find it amazingly on point based on astrology and based on what we've been experiencing and not what we will be experiencing for the next few weeks. So I'm just gonna, what I like to do is I like to put my crystals and my items and things on top of cards to either strengthen the energy or to remove negativity, and I'm grounding the subconscious so we can be open to our intuition. And I'm also opening the roads and the doorways for this moral integrity that I feel that, for me personally, I've been sitting with it a lot, but I think a lot of other people, it's time for them to actually understand why they're doing things and also actually do what they said that they're going to do. Now, let's use my more ancestral connection here. Again, this is the alphabet of Aoavim, which means the ABC of lovers, and this is Kabbalistic cards by Orna Ben-Shoshan. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to find the center, the mediator between these two things that we just discussed. And so I'm going to take my time. I'm going to shuffle it for a minute until I feel like I'm there. And then I'm going to cut the deck in two. And I'm going to find a card in the middle that's going to give me what I'm looking for. And again, this is about love. This deck is specifically about love, but it also can be relationships, connections. And because Jupiter is Jupiter, it also can be our connections to society at large, and not just something personal. So let's see what we're gonna get here. Let's see. Okay, we got card number 41. Looks pretty intense to me. Let's see. 41. I'm gonna show it to you. I'm gonna show you the back as well. Final mem. Mem is the M sound in Hebrew, and final mem is how we write it. We write it in a different way when we finish it, when it's the last letter in the word. And it says closed-mindedness and lack of communication. So this is a more problematic thing that's going to happen if we do not utilize these two tools that we just received. And it's interesting because I asked what is going to connect, and this is showing me what will be the problem in connection. And the problem in connection is that if you start using this opportunity that Jupiter is giving us and this time frame to really sit with yourself, bring out from the subconscious what needs to be looked at, use your intuition, and utilize it in favor of integrity, of moral integrity, and you're going to speak your truth into the world. It might be difficult because Some people are closed-minded, and they will not want to communicate with you because they haven't done the work. They're not ready for it. So take this as a bit of a warning, perhaps, that if you're going out into the world and you did the homework and you're ready to be who you are and you're ready to sit with honor and integrity, some people will turn away from you. And it's very interesting because if you look at the picture, you can see that she is blindfolded. She hasn't opened her eyes yet. She is not ready for this Jupiter transit. And I'm going to tell you what's going to happen is that sometimes when we're not ready, this blindfold is just ripped out from our eyes. So I think that it's going to be really good to try to open them, even just a little bit. Now, to finish this Jupiter story, I'm going to pull some little trinkets, little things. I don't know how much, what, how many, how is that going to happen. So I'm going to totally let my spirits guide me. May my spirits guide my hands to pull out the right items, the proper items, so we can really move forward through this reading. Let's see. So the first thing that's going to come out. Ooh, the Caesars. I don't know if you can see that. Let me show you the Caesars. See that? I like the pearl in the middle, the little rose. But let's see what else is going on. The tree. Whew! That is getting heavy. That is getting heavy. And this, actually I got it from another dear friend. Okay. So, with this I can tell you, just to remind you that Jupiter is going to make this transit, it's going to stay around for a few weeks and then it's going to go back to where it was. The Caesars and the tree are a very interesting combination to me. Okay? So the tree represents, at least to me, your community, your family, your roots, as well as your branches, where you start and where you want to go. Now, one thing about plants and trees is that in order for them to grow healthy, you gotta trim them. So perhaps what this Jupiter transit is saying with this difficulty of communication is that there might be a chance that you will have to remove certain individuals out of your life, especially if these individuals do not vibrate on the same frequency with you in this Jupiter transit. Because right, we have our intuition popping, we have our moral integrity, we able to marry the two, which is magnificent and beautiful. Let me put a little coral on that because I love it. It's Hieros Gamos. It's like high spiritual marriage. And then the opposition to that, or the opposition in this transit, is this lack of communication or miscommunication, because people are closed-minded, and they are closed-minded because they haven't done the work. They haven't sat with their shit. They haven't evolved to a point of where being able to use intuition. They do not maybe want to take moral responsibility or moral integrity. And so you have to trim the tree. You have to cut that those connections, perhaps, at least for a little time, maybe not forever, but at least for the next 3 weeks, so they don't bother or hinder your evolution. Now, this is very interesting to me because this is, to me, connected to energies of the ancestors and energies like Santissima Muerte, like Ma Kali. These are intense motherly energy, but the mother that comes from underneath the earth, the mother of bones, the mother of the ancestors. And there is a deep lesson here, that expansion is very much connected to that tree that we're talking about. We have to go deeper into our memories. We have to go deeper into our family lines. We have to go deeper into understanding our gifts and the intuition and why is certain things are kicking in right now. Because as above, so below, right? As you grow your branches, you need to understand the roots. And perhaps you need to do some trimming in the roots as well. So if that means that you have to disconnect from a family member because they are, and family, by the way, we're talking Jupiter, so it can be community family, global family, things like that. But looking at the roots of the situation, looking at your ancestry, and doing some healing and doing some clearing, energetic clearing to clear some trauma. Because if before Jupiter was kind of giving you this instinctive fight or flight situation, now Jupiter is telling you, you already have the instinct, you already have the intuition, you don't have to be scared, but I'm calling you to act. I'm calling you to start those fires. I'm calling you to do something about it. You're not going to have a lot of time. This transit is not going to be long. For now, it's going to go back to the survival mode. So while you have time, use what you learn and trim the branches, right? Weed the ground. It's springtime. Create that ground, and that ground is internal within you, but it has deep, it has, I felt like I need to grab this. It has deep connection to the rest of the community, the rest of the world. And the people that can come and help you in what you want to achieve, and not hinder you because they are not because they're bad people necessarily, or because they are assholes and they just want to stop you from doing what you need to be doing. No, it's also because they are not ready and they are not there to be doing the same work as you. And I hope that makes sense. We don't have to cut them again. We don't have to cut those branches violently. Oh, I see. Is that Rana over there? It's really hard for me to see. Do you see this? Sitting here, I'm using this as an amulet. But we have to understand that sometimes we have to give a break to people, and we have to cut them off, maybe for a short period of time, maybe forever. It could be family, it could be chosen family, it could be community. But if these people are not vibrating with you in the same way, and you are on an evolved level, you trying to communicate your truth to them is going to be as useful as me talking to the wall. This is how useful it's going to be. So don't try it. Don't even go there. Just focus on your intuition. Focus on what came up from the subconscious, and how that is affecting your moral code, your ethics, and your interaction with people. It's not so much about boundaries, though it can be. I think it's challenging to set boundaries with Jupiter, although right now it occupies the same area as Saturn does. So perhaps it's actually going to be a little bit forced. You will have to have boundaries. But in any case, remember that this change, this evolution is for your benefit. It's not for other people. But eventually it will be, because Jupiter is about connecting to other people, is about community, is about growth and expansion, hopefully positive expansion for you.